everyone. How are you doing? You might notice that I am here with a little picture of myself. That's because I want to show you how to do option charts. In order to do that, I need to use my little iPad, and I'm not techie enough to know how to get that off of there. So we will do a little option chart demo, okay? And so I'm going to switch to my little iPad, and we'll do that now. Okay, the first thing we do is we draw a little chart. And at the top, we're going to put three things we want. And you guys can put whatever you want up at the top of the chart. I will usually always put close to God. And I usually put peaceful and joyful. But in this one, I'm going to put happy and comfy, like comfortable, because that's one of the reasons we eat is to be comfortable, right? And then I'm going to put permanent weight loss in this chart, the column over on the right. And so I actually have a lot of these option charts in my new book, Say Goodbye to Emotional Eating. So as you're doing them in the book, feel free to change the little headings of the columns as you do the book if you have something you want to put up there that I don't have up there. Okay, so after we get those columns up, we're going to put our three options over on the left. And for this one, just because I don't have much room, I'm really going to simplify it. They'll be a little bit more complicated in my new book, but we're just going to try for this 5-day renewing challenge. We're going to try and keep it really simple. Okay, this is what I'm going to put for my options over on the left. And these are the options, the way we can live life, okay? One is not to have any boundaries at all. You'll see that's that top column up there. And with no boundaries, it's like, you know what? I'm going to live however I want. I don't want anybody to control me. I am going to eat what I want when I want. So we're going to see if that's really going to make us happy. Okay. The second option is follow my boundaries when convenient. Okay. So that's like, I'm going to have boundaries because I want to lose weight and I know I have to have boundaries to do it. But if, it's a holiday or if I'm going out to eat or if I've had a bad day or if we're watching TV and everybody else is eating, on those days, I'm not going to follow perfectly. I'll still try to keep following it, but I'm not going to follow them perfectly. Okay. And then this bottom one is going to be I'm going to follow my boundaries all the time, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's a holiday, when I'm on vacation, when I'm uh, having a hard day, when I'm procrastinating, I'm still going to follow them. Okay. So we're just going for attitude here because we know we're not capable of following perfectly. But I think one of the reasons that we get into trouble and the reasons we gain weight is because we always want to keep our options open, right? We don't want to do anything that's going to cramp our style. And then the problem is we don't look at the consequences, right? So these little option charts, they're all about consequences, okay? Because these are the charts that will help us see if our normal way of doing life works for us, okay? Okay, so let's look at these charts. First option is no boundaries. Is that going to give us permanent weight loss? Okay, I'm going to say no. I'm going to put a little down arrow there. Okay, it might give us permanent weight loss if we're a type of person that doesn't eat too much, that doesn't just love food, that doesn't eat for emotional reasons. If we're that type of person, well, we could have no boundaries and we'd have permanent weight loss. But for people who love to eat, who aren't opposed to eating too much, who are emotional eaters, we need boundaries. And the boundaries, they are there for those times when we do feel like eating too much. So that is not going to give me permanent weight loss. Okay. And normally I would write a little bit in there. Okay. It won't give me permanent weight loss because I am the sort of person who eats too much. So because of that, this lifestyle isn't going to give me what I want up at the top. Up at the top, these are the things we want. These are the ways to live life over on the left side. Okay. Okay, next one, no boundaries. Is that going to make us happy and comfy? Now, normally we'd say, oh, yeah, that'd make us happy and comfy because we can eat whatever we want, right? Okay, it will make us happy and comfy in the moment. So I'm going to put a little up arrow because it'll make me happy and comfy for 5 minutes, far happier and more comfy than trying to follow my boundaries. But I'm going to put a big down arrow over here because in the long run, this is not the good life, right? Because I am not happy when I'm super overweight. I am not comfortable when I'm super overweight. And I'm not happy when I'm always trying to lose weight. I hate going on diets, or I hate trying to limit myself. I'm not going to keep writing in here. You just pretend I'm writing in here because it's too hard and such a small chart. Maybe I'll jot a few words just to, jog your memory. But if I'm writing this in my journal, I'm gonna write, things like this over here. I'm gonna write full sentences. Okay, is no boundary can make me close to God? And I'm gonna say no, because I'm an emotional eater, okay? And again, if I were writing this in my journal, I write full sentences, okay? It's not going to make me close to God because I'm going to go to food instead of God for life, right? And so if I go to food instead of God, I'm not going to mature. I'm not going to be close to Him. I'm not going to learn to rely on Him. And food could become an idol. Sweets could become an idol for me, or whatever it is you love. So that's not going to make me closer to God. Okay, so we can see there's all down arrows in this line. Okay, so let's see. Follow boundaries when convenient. Okay, is that going to give me permanent weight loss? And the answer is no. Interesting. It's just like that one up above, right? It's just like this first chart. Because if I follow my boundaries when convenient, it's going to be inconvenient often enough that it will make me gain weight. Okay. Or it'll make me feel like I'm suffering all day and not losing, right? Because I might follow them all day. And then the evening, I just eat one little dessert and I think, oh, these boundaries don't work. So I'm not losing any weight. Okay. That's because I'm not following them perfectly. I'm only following them when it's convenient over here. Okay, is it going to make me happy and comfy if I follow my boundaries when convenient? And I'd say no, because I'm still suffering. I am still following during the day, not following at night. So I still feel like I'm full blown suffer mode. And here's the interesting thing: we might think the best way to get out of suffering is to eat whatever we want or to follow them only when convenient. But the truth is, I think the best way to get over suffering is to develop a habit of always following them. So if we develop a habit of always following them, and if we're focused really on appreciating them and enjoying them and being thankful for the food we get to eat, that is our best chance for contentment. The world will tell us, no, you need to be able to indulge your desires to be happy, okay? But the Bible doesn't say that, right? Self control is a fruit of the Spirit. We're happiest when we're in control. In fact, I've seen this right now in my life. I'm starting to get so much more in control with work, being intentional with my time. And I can't believe how much happier I am just because I feel like, I'm not out of control anymore. And it's the same way with food. We will be happier when we're feeling like we're following our boundaries consistently. Okay, following boundaries when convenient, is that going to make me close to God? No, because when it's not convenient? It's not convenient when life is hard. That's when it's not convenient to follow our boundaries. And we want to develop the habit of going to God when life is hard, not going to food. So going to food is not going to make us close to God. Okay, what if we follow them all the time? And when I say all the time, guys, I'm not saying you can't change your boundaries on holidays. So if it's Thanksgiving, you could actually change your boundaries that day and say, you know what? I'm going to eat 4 meals a day instead of three, or I'm going to allow myself a second serving, or I'm going to eat 2,500 calories a day instead of 1,500. Okay. So it's okay to change your boundaries if it's, rare, if it's every once in a while. But I would say it's better to never say I'm not going to have any boundaries. So still eat with control, change your boundaries if you need to, but only if you're a person who that won't hurt. And you guys, I'm guessing you probably know that. You know whether or not you're a person that can change your boundaries and live through it and get back on the straight and narrow the next day. For some people, you'll be better off changing them for holidays. For other people, you'll be better off, keeping to the same boundaries every day. But the truth is, if you follow boundaries all the time, you are going to have permanent weight loss. It's just those little boundary breaks that make us gain the weight. Okay. So is the boundary break at night or the extra one in the afternoon? It's surprising how just, a small amount can help us start gaining weight. Or you have 3 or 4 days of emotional eating because life is super hard, or you go on a vacation. So if you just have those periods of life where you're like all out eating, or at least, kind of all out, that's going to be enough to make you gain weight. So it's this sad fact of life. We got to follow our boundaries if we want to maintain our weight. Okay, following our boundaries all the time, will that make us happy and comfy? Okay, I'm going to put a little arrow there because sometimes it's going to make us unhappy, right? If we're like, oh, I really want to have 3 of those yummy cannolis and we're limited to one, it's going to make us a little unhappy. Same thing with rhubarb pie, lemon bars, all those yummies. But overall, you see how it's the exact opposite of this top column up here? Okay, because just a tiny little sacrifice in the moment. But overall, are you more comfortable in life overall if you're at the weight you want to be? I mean, as long as the weight you want to be is a healthy weight and not a too skinny weight. Yeah, I'd say yes. I'd say I am much more happy, much more comfortable weight wise if I'm following my boundaries all the time. But you know what? I'm also much more happy and comfy craving wise if I follow my boundaries. Because if I just break them even once or two, it's like I'm always looking for something to eat. When I follow my boundaries perfectly, I don't think about food very much. When I don't follow them perfectly, I'm always thinking about food because it's like, what can I eat next? Because I know I have the freedom to eat. So we are going to be happiest and comfy in there. And are we going to be closest to God? Okay, I'm putting it up there, but I'm actually going to put a question mark because that all depends on where do I go for help. Okay. So if I replace food with the internet or shopping or drinking or, some other thing, I'm not going to grow closer to God. I'm only going to grow closer to God if I go to Him for help when life is hard, if I go to Him for satisfaction, if I try and make life about Him. So having boundaries, that's going to help encourage me to go to Him. But, I won't necessarily go to Him. So this column, that's something, that's just another thing we need to work on, developing that close relationship with God. So I hope this gives you a little idea of how to do these option charts.
One thing I forgot to tell you when I was recording the video was that what I do after I fill out the chart is I'll look at the chart as a whole and say which option's the best. And if you remember back to that chart, the first line, no boundaries, that was all down our arrows. The second column, the column that said boundaries only every once in a while when convenient, that was also all down arrows. So the best option, this always surprises me every time I do an option chart, the best option is what we feel like is the hard option. And so in this case, the best option for life really is following my boundaries all the time. And so that's what these option charts do, is they help us see the truth. And the reason they help us see the truth is they help us see the consequences of our actions that we think are so fun and exciting and comfy, but really they have bad consequences. So anyway, I hope this will help you. Give this challenge a try. It's maybe a little bit harder of a challenge. If I were you, I might just try doing just the same chart every day, the one I showed you on the screen. And when you get, if you get the book, Say Goodbye to Emotional Eating, I think that has about 11 option charts on it. So those are a little bit more complicated. I also have option charts at my website, barbaraveling.com, and in Freeing from Emotional Eating. Okay, well, I'm excited about this challenge. I hope you give it a try.